Hi guys, so whilst I'm not known for my talking head videos, I've got the opportunity today to talk to one of the most popular talking heads in our whole community. So hi, I'm Ross.
And I'm Rahul Kohli.
And this is Warhammer Videos. So Rahul, first of all, thanks for joining us, mate. I really do appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. You're traveling at the moment?
Yeah. Just I live in America, but I've come to Europe to do some work right now that I can't talk about.
Is this? I noticed the other day you shaved the beard off for a role you mentioned. So whenever we see you clean shaven in a role, we can look back and go, that was the one.
Sure.
Fantastic. But do you have any ID? Just because without the beard, can you prove that you're you? Have you got any ID on you today? Or
well, that's a good question. I'm wearing a Nurgle t-shirt. I don't think anyone else would.
No,
that's true. And I'm wearing Liverpool jogging bottoms. But I'm in costume as Rahul Kohli.
Well, if it's not you, then it's the best Rahul Kohli cosplay I've ever seen yet.
Sure.
So obviously, yeah, you're over here for work. When you say you're over here, like, is this back over home? Is this home to you now still, or are you mentally?
Yeah, home has been America / Canada for the last nearly 10 years now.
Oh wow.
I haven't lived in the UK since I was like 27, 28. So I'm usually just back for Christmases or just to visit my folks.
No. So how long have you been acting now professionally? Like 15 years, more?
That's a weird one because I started my kind of acting journey where I went to drama school and things like that. I started at 18, so that's nearly 20 years.
Oh wow.
But I wouldn't say I started acting until I did my first proper gig, which was a show called iZombie. Yeah, and that was 2014. So that's where it feels like I was really working.
So what was the journey like growing up? Because you're from London, aren't you? So growing up, like how do you go from like growing up and hanging out in London to like off to America, getting booked for like? Because I know you, like I first like came in contact with you and understood who you were through iZombie. Great show.
Oh right.
Thank you. And yeah, like absolutely fantastic characters in it. Rose was great. David Anders as well, absolutely brilliant. So how do you go through that journey?
I'm torn with it because it's not part of the plan, but it was part of the plan. I wasn't one of those kids that wanted to be an actor at a young age or any of that stuff. I wanted to make video games. I think that was probably my earliest want. And at a certain point, I think watching Star Wars and the original Star Wars was this kind of like life-changing experience for me where I made this decision that I think I wanted to work in film. So it transitioned from video games to film, and in particular, I wanted to work at ILM. I wanted to work in special effects and help build those worlds that like I loved so much and escaped to. And then I think I went to this college course that kind of missold me and my dad, and they were like, this is a great stepping stone if your son wants to get into visual effects. And it wasn't. It was terrible. While I was there, I learned a little bit about media production. So I was directing short films, and in that I did some acting, and I was like, I'm better at this than all of this. So I dropped out and I submitted an audition to drama school and I got in. That kind of like becoming an actor was like, I want to say like 16, 17, 18, around that age. And then I did my drama school and everything was great. And then get an agent and then like dead air for almost 10 years. And I was auditioning a lot, but I wasn't booking. I was pretty good at booking like a commercial here and there or background work or whatever. But when I was close to kind of quitting and calling it quits or whatever, the iZombie pilot audition came through and I put myself on tape for that, and within a week they cast me as one of the lead roles. So it went from like 0 to 60. It was like an overnight success, but there was like 10 years in the make of work before that to get to that point. And then since then it's just been pretty free flowing, and now I'm here.
What a journey. Like, that's absolutely insane. In a similar, I can't relate to that in any way, but like in a microcosm scale, that's kind of like how I am at the moment. Like, I'm a guy who writes on the internet, and now I'm speaking to famous actors. It was that bit that touched on me where you're like, you're meeting your heroes and that sort of thing. Like, that's got to be, even as an actor yourself, like, who's pretty damn famous now. And
I don't feel that famous. I think social media is very misleading. You think that you're more popular than you are, and then when you're in the real world, most of my month completely anonymous.
But you still get those moments now of like meeting your heroes. Do you ever get that point of like, oh my god, like I be careful what you say, be careful what you say, be careful what you say, and just calm yourself down before you get to like that handshake moment?
You'll meet people who are like, yeah, I don't really get starstruck anymore and all of this stuff. And the truth is I still do. And I don't see myself as any less professional. Obviously, I don't like fall to my knees and hassle actors on set when they're trying to do their work, but that I definitely make my feelings towards them known, because I don't see a downside to telling someone. Like, I just worked with Mark Hamill after, him being the reason that I'm an actor. I'm here because of Mark and his movie, and we were co-stars on the new show, and I'm not going to lie and play it cool. Like, why would I ever do that? It's just so disingenuous. Like, I told him, and he had asked me like why I was an actor, and because I saw Star Wars and I'm here now. And I think Mark had said that, he said something that kind of made me tear up. He said, I'm glad we made something that inspired you, because I think you're great, or something like that. And we were a big cast, but I think Mark and I definitely got on super well and had a friendship. And it happened to be with one of the people that was his biggest fan.
That's got to be awesome, man. And I know they say never meet your heroes, but I think that's the exact reason why you should, especially with the likes of Mark Hamill, who seems such a genuine guy as well in everything he's been in. Like, the guy wears his heart on his sleeve everywhere. Yeah. So after that, like, you booked more roles, and you went into gaming. I was actually just watching your interview with Ninjon before this, and you were saying in that like your first role in voice acting, your first big role was in Gears. Like, I was looking at your IMDb page, and it was like, hang on a minute, Rage came out before Gears, but you actually got Gears before Rage, is that right?
Yeah. Gears started while I was doing iZombie, and because it was a much larger role, I was on Gears from quite early on, and it just so happened that like towards the end of Rage, I think it reached out and asked if I would do like a cameo. So I recorded that, and then the game came out first. But yeah, Gears was well into production. I was on that way longer. They both came out the same year. But yeah, Gears was my first kind of experience with voice acting in video game world.
As a fan of yours from iZombie, when I heard you were coming into Gears, I was really excited. And I don't know why, my brain straight went to, well, Ravi's a doctor, so we're going to have some sort of doctor role. Nope, you come in and you play Faz. And the way I put it in the script was like, he's quite antagonistic. But I think it's fair to say, as a British guy, Faz is a bit of a dick.
You and me spar right now.
Do you just like the variety of characters you get to play?
I'm not either of those characters. Like, I'm definitely not Ravi. I don't have that much optimism and joy that he kind of has. But I care what other people think. So I'm not as antagonistic. I'm not as much as a prick as far as you can just like happy to just upset people. And I haven't really got to that point yet where I've sat down and looked back at the journey, because I still feel like I'm at the real beginning of my career for some reason. I haven't reminisced yet and picked anything apart, but Gears was a real good kind of education for me. iZombie was a great first show because of who I was working with, and Rob Thomas, and I mean, it would be real hard to mess up his scripts. They're just so well written, and it's like painting by numbers. Like, not to say that we weren't acting and bringing our own things to it, but they're really, really well written scripts. And on Gears, Rod Ferguson cast me in that, and he knew it was my first game, and so I had a new education with him, who was taking me line by line, because I wasn't able to read a script. I'm not a voice actor either. He just liked my audition. I was recommended by a friend of his to read for this role. They were looking for someone. They hadn't found their actor yet. So I went in and read, because I happened to be filming in Vancouver, and that's where Gears is made. And Rod kind of taught me and helped me to like give options and do ABC takes. And then Rod would say, I like the beginning of A, I like the middle of C, and I like the way you ended on B, combine them, and within a few seconds you're going to smash that line together again and give that delivery. And I was going back to iZombie with that going on simultaneously, and then able to bring that to iZombie and then start mucking around with inflections and takes and giving ults.
We've got no idea how this sort of stuff works, and obviously in Warhammer we're in a community where, yeah, okay, the results are good, but most people are a lot more interested, I find, in how things are done. So how does it work with the voice acting? So for like Gears, did you go and were you actually in a booth with, was it Liam McIntyre who was in?
Yeah, Liam McIntyre was there, Laura Bailey. No, so it all depends. It's job to job. For me, I've rarely had that, where you see like on Toy Story or whatever, where all the cast, or even I know Dave Filoni likes to have a lot of the cast in the room together to record and work off each other. I've not been in that scenario ever. I've only ever been with the director, sometimes remote, sometimes on the other side of the glass. For the most part, yeah, I'll just be on a Zoom call with people. But with Gears, we would record in person, but with Rod Ferguson and Tom Bissell, the writer. But I wouldn't see any of the other actors. And depending on who schedules what, you'd either be hearing them feed your line, or there is no feed. You might be the first person to record that scene, so the others get to react to you, but you don't necessarily get to react to them. Boltgun was just, I'm a taunt button, so there was no way to play off. You just shout.
My shield is disgust.
But yeah, it's been a mixed bag.
It's interesting you say you're a taunt button. Like there's so many voice actors out there and famous actors who've been in games and done voice acting and various stuff. And yeah, they've all brought something to the role, and they've all got something out of the role. But not only do you have your voice in a video game, you've got your own dedicated button. I mean, how does that feel? There's a Rahul Kohli button. Like, that's got to be good, right?
Yeah, I mean, as a gamer, that definitely, because I always talk about Doom, but like Brutal Doom. I don't know if you've ever played Brutal.
Yeah.
But the mod. I remember when that first came out, and you could spam a middle finger and flip the bird. In Doom, I think was one of the mods that they added. Boltgun has consistently delivered on every level since Orok and I started talking.
It's fair to say it's good. Like I've played through, completed the game now, and yeah, as soon as I got it, I was like, right, this is me. And it was like, right, I think 6 o'clock I got it. I finished work. That was me all night. It took me till about 10 o'clock the next morning. And then I had a whole day's worth of work to do. But yeah, it was just, I haven't done that since I was in my 20s. Yeah. So, but it was good. I just thought, I want to give this my all. I want to get through it. And it was great. So it has been a good experience. Gaming's a big part of your life as well, isn't it? Like you grew up gaming, didn't you? Yeah. So what do you remember from back in the day? Like you're a child of the 90s, aren't you?
Yeah, I was born in 1985. So I was actually fortunate enough, like a 3-4-year-old, to play on an Amstrad. That was what my dad had at the house. So we were loading the cassettes, loading for 8 minutes just to play some kind of basic game. But yeah, gaming was my first love. And film and TV, as much as I love them, I fluctuate with them. Games have always been my main diet. I've always been into video games. There's never been a cool-off period. There's never been I don't get to play as much as I always make time for that. Coming full circle, my first console was the Super Nintendo. My first game was Super Mario World. I mean, I play everything, but I remember as a kid playing in 1993, playing Doom. I was about 8 years old. My cousin, it was like we had porn because we couldn't let our parents know that we were playing. So we knew that we were playing something way above like our age limit. But yeah, I was just the right age for that to blow my mind, and just like, it was also terrifying. Like Doom, as an 8-year-old anyway, it was a pretty tense, scary game. That began my love for first-person shooters.
That is one of the original, isn't it? I remember playing that with my friend on the SNES. And then so Warhammer's quite new to you. I think I may have overheard on another review you saying like when you were a kid, you'd walk past us, and that's me, by the way, in the shop shouting, "Nerd." But now obviously it's kind of come around the other way, and you're quite heavily into Warhammer. So what was the bit that switched? Like, who was it, and when was it, and why was it that you suddenly like went, oh, Warhammer, I'll try that out?
Warhammer's just like Games Workshop's one of those things. You saw them on every high street. At least I felt like I did. For me, I was a gamer. I was looking for Computer Exchange, or I was like Game Station or whatever. What I always had an interest in was like styrene model kits. This period of time in my life where I was auditioning a lot, I also still had a lot of free time, and I started to, because I wasn't acting very much, I was feeling kind of artistically boxed in, and I wanted to be more creative. So I was like, I'm gonna pick up styrene kits again and see what's happening. And it was Star Wars kits made by Fine Molds, a Japanese company. I was using YouTube to like relearn how to like paint model kits. I was learning to like, you know, oh, I'm supposed to prime it, I'm supposed to airbrush it, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, oh, this is a wash. So that's where I kind of got into the hobby, and then I got iZombie. So only after a couple of years, I was gone. I went past like a Warhammer store and I was like, let me check out this. I got a Space Marine. I got that little starter kit with, you know, a couple of paints and the three Marines. And I just went for the box art because I really liked the box art. So I started with an Ultramarine. Obviously used YouTube as my way to kind of like figure out what's the right way to do this and what's the right color scheme, and that's where it started. So it literally started January 2022.
Wow.
And within that, but being an actor, one of my superpowers is research. I can research like no one else. Like I can digest a ton of information very quickly, and that's what happened with Warhammer. So within a month, I'm listening to Loot and on lore. I'm playing through the video games already. I've got the Warhammer subscription, so I'm watching Louise on the masterclass, and then I'm, you know, became mates with Darren and learned what heavy metal was. So it all just it was just I still haven't painted a Blood Angel, by the way.
I was going to ask, that was my follow-up.
And I never came back to it.
I think that's appreciated, because when guys like you who do have quite a bit of fame and quite a bit of popularity and are general just normal people, when you guys get into the hobby we love, it really helps like take away this vision that we're all just smelly neckbeards, present company excluded. But you know, it is good, and it helps to make it a bit more mainstream and a lot more accepted. So I know a lot of people out there will be incredibly thankful for, you know, just championing what we love.
It's just a stereotype, like it's a generalization. I've been walking around wearing Warhammer merch and stuff like that, and I've been meeting fans in all walks of life, you know, bars, clubs, airport security. They're just like, oh, don't, you know. I guess it's like there is no typical gamer, I guess, media, and people just assume that this is what a Warhammer fan looks like, this is what they're about. And the truth is, it's like, it's not. It's a very diverse group from a multitude of backgrounds.
Yeah, and you're completely right. Like with Warhammer Fest recently, I met so many people, like, and people are from all different backgrounds, and that's the good thing. Like, you've got people in construction, people working in IT, you've got project managers, you've got so many people, like you've said, security, so many different walks of life are in here. Meanwhile, I'm sat here with my recently shaven neckbeard looking around my basement, but you know, I'm not doing much to help, but thankfully I've got you on the channel right now who's going to do more than enough for both of us. What is it about the connection to painting that you, is it just fun? Have you got a creative self? Like for me, I find it quite meditative to just sit there and chill and paint and sort through all the crap of the day. What is it for you?
Yeah, it's therapeutic. I've always been that way. I'm very easily distracted. It's one of the few things that I can sit down and really kind of not be distracted by work or social media or anything like that.
Totally understand where it's like, especially when you're doing an edge highlight or an eye dot, you've got that just almost sniper moment of like, just get it right, that sort of thing. It was funny when you were saying earlier about like how you said, you know, you've got a special skill as an actor. I honestly thought you were going to say, I can research it and then I can act like I can paint that good. And I'm that good at actor that my acting quality painter
through the painting. Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a Daniel Day-Lewis thing for sure.
I can't, like, if me Rahul Kohli was going to paint, no, terrible. But if I act like I can,
well, I'm playing Darren Latham, so
right. Oh, is that what it is?
That's I'm playing the role of Darren.
You heard it here first, guys. Fohammer.com exclusive in the upcoming Warhammer documentary, or the life of Darren Latham. That'd sounds like a good Apple TV one. That does.
Sure.
So,
or Warhammer Plus.
Back to Boltgun. So yeah, you've played it now. Are you far through it?
I've had it for a very long time. I've had it for over a month at least. They gave it to me, and I played the first few levels, and it was weird. It's a weird thing, like it's happened before with games and stuff. I don't like playing them too early because you're not playing it with anyone, and there's no one to talk to. So you have this experience that's very like isolated. I wanted to save it for the day of release.
I know exactly what you mean. That's why I ended up messaging you, because I was like,
you just need the game, and I'm like,
I'm like, friend. So have you seen any reviews yet of Boltgun?
No,
not at all.
No. Well, maybe your one.
Thank you.
But it's all been embargoed until today, I think. So at 4 p.m. today, I think all the reviews will come out.
Yeah, no, and
I've not. Rarely am I in a position where I get to play a game before it comes out, but I think it's a really good game. I can see people think it's fine. I'm not expecting it to be treated like it's God of War or Last of Us, but it's a good, bloody good game. And if you're a Warhammer fan, it's a fantastic game.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that it's not just a good Warhammer game; it's a good video game as well, which is fantastic, which is really, really great. Right. I'm going to end just with like a few community questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
Last thing. So we've got Zan Sims from Facebook. He asks, would you be up for a Space Marine role in other media and TV series, maybe even a Warhammer TV show?
Yeah, I'm very fussy about what I work on. So it'd have to be good. I'd have to like it. Yeah. And like, I know it's crazy, but I know I definitely blur the line between actor and your mate. I know that the internet feels like I'm just their mate who got lucky, but it's like, no, I'm a professional and I have a team, and I do look at scripts, and I do raise issues with stuff, and I won't just do something because, they're appealing to some sentiment, because I watched the cartoon when I was 8, so I'll do it. I'm not that guy. So provided that the stars align, absolutely, I think there is some wonderful stories to be told.
There's a guy, really, really awesome sounding guy called Goss Rayham. He's from the internet. He says, if you could take any existing game mechanic and put a Warhammer skin on it, what would it be and why?
You know what I would do? I think the natural progression after a game like Boltgun, if Boltgun is Doom 93, a Doom Eternal Space Marine, so like a full modern day 2023, that would feel like the next thing I would want from one. Boltgun, but in a kind of ray tracing. That would be the next progression. That's what I would vote for.
You've got me excited with that. Like that, yeah, you're right. That is what we would definitely want. Dan Green asks, are you excited for the new 10th edition of Warhammer and the models in it?
Yeah, for sure. Well, you got new Stone Gods, so, and obviously I'm biased now, so I'm down for that, more proportionate to the Primaris. But tabletop side of things is something I'm still very, very new to. I understand in an essence that 10th edition is a much more accessible game for new players. So by that token, yeah, I am.
We've got Kev from the Hobby Corner who asks, what is the best Space Marine chapter? Why is it Ultramarines?
Yeah, I agree.
Fair enough.
I do like the poster boys, but I just painted my first Imperial Fist, and I really liked working with yellow.
Wow, you are insane. Everyone hates yellow.
I love it. I found it the most rewarding, and I don't know, maybe it's a flex because it's my first one, and people were like, well, it looks good, it's great, and it's the hardest color, so I'm like, but no, they just look good. I just think they look fantastic.
We've got Josh Paint who asks, have you introduced any other actors to Warhammer? But I'd say, have you introduced any other people to Warhammer, and how's that going so far?
Have I introduced anyone? I don't think I have. Oh no, so a good friend of mine, Jacob, he bought a box recently. His name's Jacob Fullerton. He's from Rooster Teeth Funhouse. I do a ton of work with him.
Oh yeah.
He's part of our crew, and we play Darktide quite often. Jacob just bought a box of Tau.
Hey.
So that's someone who I guess is into it. No, all it's done is like, from my existing friend group, the guys and girls that liked Warhammer are now hitting me up like, oh, you're doing it. So it's just brought those people out from who I never like talked to them about it before. But like, you know, like Kate Siegel's one of my best mates, and Kate, who we do a lot of the Mike Flanagan projects together. Like, she knows what a Space Marine is now, like, because she follows me on social media, and so she knows I paint these. So that there's an awareness. It's not necessarily an interest. So I think I brought an awareness to it, but not an interest. I don't think anyone's hitting me up to, you know, paint some Nurgle.
Another question from Crystal McDowell, who asks, have you ever painted a Squigg? And if not, please, can you do it?
I will be, because one of them's in my Orc Commandos kill team box.
Hey.
Yeah, so I know that I've got that lined up. I just did my first Orc a few weeks ago, and I loved it.
Saw that
little Squigg in there. Yeah, so I want to give that a go. So that will be coming up soon.
Oh, there you go. Again, exclusive information right here. So perfect. And then finally, again, sounds like an awesome person on the internet. A guy called Ho Fama asks, if you could work with any video game director, who would it be, and why would it be Hideo Kojima?
Yeah, I'm sure me and Hideo will work together one day. We've developed the friendship, and it's, I don't know, he tends to scan anyone he's a fan of or a friend of, so I'm sure I'll get to, I've been a fan of his since I was a kid, so he's an absolute legend, and master at his craft. I'm in awe of a lot of the video game guys, like friends with Neil Druckmann, Cory Barlog, and Hideo, and recently became friends with like Sam Lake at Remedy, and
wow,
that's a Max Payne face I've been staring at since I was
the one and only, the original Max Payne that they never should have moved away from. His face was perfect.
It was, yeah. But yeah, there's so many wonderful folk.
You're bringing a lot, man. I mean, to say you're a guest, like, I don't know, is it unfair to say you're slowly becoming a pretty good staple? Like, people are really enjoying what you're bringing to these roles, like, and it's a good variety as well, which is really great. So we hope, even though you're a guest for now, you become a long-staying member of that community, mate.
Thank you, Ross. I appreciate that.
Oh, certainly, man. Really appreciate it too. So, and again, I suppose that kind of brings me to the end. So I want to say thanks. Do you have anything else professionally lined up, Warhammer-wise, in the coming days?
Well, we've got Skulls on the 25th. Yeah, and I've got a few shows coming out this year. One of them being The Fall of the House of Usher, which will be out later this year, which is my next big. And I'm working on some stuff now that we can't talk about yet, but yeah.
That's fine. So in the future, you will see me in stuff, and that's as much as we can put out there. That's great. I just want to say thanks, Rahul, not only for talking with us, but just with me, and also for like what you do for not only the community. Absolutely fantastic what you do, and putting your voice into so many great roles. And yeah, I really want to appreciate you coming on my channel, because this is going to do so much more for me than it will for you. So please don't ask your agent to bill me, because I can't afford it.
Sure. Sounds good. Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Pleasure.